If you're listening on the podcast, be sure to jump back to the previous episode to listen to the first half of this conversation. Come back here for part 2.
Welcome to the Building Doctor Show with Jens Johansson.
Now we're getting into Q&A and spooky Q&A stuff here too. Okay, we've got a couple questions. When people found out we were talking attics and roofs, we've got a couple questions here. I see we have one question in the Q&A, so now's your time. I think we have 2 or 3 questions here. So get your questions in to the Q&A section. So the question goes like this. During our last re-roof, the contractor said we needed some more roof vents and added several, but we're still having condensation problems in some buildings. Could we actually have too many vents, and how do we fix short circuiting issues? So here's the vent calculation math. The 50-50 balance goes like this. Square footage of the home, so I've got a 1,000 square foot unit. I divide it by 300. The code talks about a 1 in 300 rule if I have 50-50 balance. So I divide it by 300, and then I multiply it by 144 to convert from square footage to square inches. And then I figure out the soffit and vents, dividing that by 2. And so I get where the 300 divided by 1,000 square feet is about 300. Now I have to multiply that by 144 to get square inches. And now I know I need 600 square inches of ventilation. That means I need 300 at the ridge, 300 at the soffit. And that's how that gets figured out. So when I'm off balance, if I'm getting 70-30 or 37, 70, either way, 70-30 either way, that messes with the airflow and the natural stack effect. And so even though they added more vents, do I have the balance right? Then do I have end units that have a funny roof design they're not working right? And so you could have too many vents and be out of balance, 70-30. But how do we fix short circuiting issues? That's the other vent or the side vent or the gable vent. And how do you fix that? You close it off. So you prevent the air from taking a right turn. You want it to go straight up and out. And so then I would look at some other issues, but that's kind of what I would start with there. Okay, our HOA is planning a roof replacement next year. What specific language should we include in our contractor specifications to ensure proper attic ventilation, prevent future mold problems? Have them provide the attic calculation for vents. Make sure they inspect a sampling of attics. Get them up into 5 or 10 attics. Have language in the contract that they attach the vent ductwork securely. Maybe have some inspection of, we're going to inspect 10 attics, then we're going to make sure all the ductwork is attached securely. Ensure slope and drainage. So where we have standing water, make sure it's retapered, resloped. Always have them follow manufacturer's instructions. You can point to that because that's what the warranty verifies itself on. If you install it per my instructions, I will give you that 50-year warranty. So make sure that's part of their contract, as opposed to, I've been a roofer for 20 years and I've never done it that way. And it's like, you've done it wrong for 20 years. So just make sure they follow manufacturer's instructions if you're relying on manufacturer's warranty. And then have somebody spot check what they're doing. So those are the easiest things to put in. And then let's see. We have several units reporting mold in their attics, but our roofs are only 8 years old. How do we determine whether this is a roofing issue covered by our reserves or a unit owner maintenance issue? Yeah, good question. So like we talked, inspect the attics and the roofs. And then we can install little humidity sensors in the attics and check for high moisture readings. Check those fans, check interior usage, and those little, again, that line of 10 pack building, the middle one's having problems. Those are what the humidity sensors are. We've got them in every attic. Every attic's humidity is 50%, but this one is 95%. And so we can say, and we can come back to the resident and say, what are you doing in here? Oh, you have a marijuana grow operation and you've got hydroponic tanks. Okay, we've seen it. And so it's like, that explains it. And so you can kind of figure that stuff out, but you're getting down to, once you've ruled out the basics, that the building should be working how it's working, then you have to kind of start looking at the resident a little bit and say, what are you doing? Dehumidifiers, humidifiers. Those are amazing. Dehumidifiers suck the moisture out of the air. Humidifiers put water vapor into the air. And so we've been in countless units where we walk in and it's just foggy in there. We're like, what are you doing? Well, I have asthma, so I humidify the unit so my nasal passages feel better. It's like, wow, I would turn the fan on. You're causing so much mold with this thing. So just things like that. Look at those. All right. And I think we had another question. So here's questions from the show today. Okay. Let's see. Mostly I haven't understood anything we talked about. Yes. Sorry. We got technical today, but we are looking at mold and things like this. So we have a 20-year-old flat roof and are in the process of replacing it now. We knew there were some soft spots and marked them. We had them patched and the roof collapsed and fell onto somebody's bed. So the question is about responsibility of the patching company. Yeah. So roof repairs versus roof patching. And she says one of our staff knows something about this, and we will get them on it. But patches versus replacement. So it's just a function of how we're looking at the patch or how that patch is being done. Is it weather tight to weather the storm this weekend, or is it really a permanent patch that's really fixing what's happening there? So we can help you get to the bottom of that and understand why it was patched versus why it wasn't. So yeah, hopefully that helps. But patches versus replacement or temporary repairs versus long-term repairs. So yeah, hopefully I answered your question there. But we have some project knowledge on that and we will get in touch with you about that. Stay tuned. All right. Yeah. I don't see any more questions. So we will jump to, let's see, did we jump on? There we go. Giveaways. Okay. Here's where we give things away. So we've got a J2 VIP notebook. We've got some spooky Kit Kats. We've got some power banks for when the power goes out. So I'm going to pick number 12. Pick number 12. So how this works, when you sign into the thing, you get a number. And Carolyn will see your number and she will reach out to number 12 and get your address and make sure those things are mailed to you. So thank you for playing that. And then, of course, did you know we have free resources for boards and managers? So if you like to type, learn.j2consultants.com/resources, or use your little QR code on the phone and scan that QR code, and that'll take you there. And this is kind of a one-pager of everything we offer. So you can sign up for that stuff. You can find our guides. Again, scan there, and that'll take you to that. Basically, go to our website, and you'll be directed in the right places. And invite your friends back. For Tuesday, November 25th, we will be back. And so type something in the chat if you have an idea for a future show and get that in there. Carolyn will see that and we'll bring that up to the show producers. So thank you very much. Happy Halloween. Stay dry out there. And when you feel like being scared a little bit, poke your head up in your attic and see if it looks good. Hopefully it does. So, have a good one. Thank you.
This podcast is part of J2's free live webinar, The Building Doctor Show. To attend the live show and ask your questions during the Q&A, visit www.j2consultants.com.